What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel. I'm glad you stopped by. Come on in. I want to talk to you about something that has me really excited. Probably the most excited about an item that I've been excited about in a long time. And it's kind of hard. I've seen a lot of tools, but you know, it's one of these things that you don't know what you don't know. And boy, have I been learning a lot. I've looked at a whole bunch of different YouTube videos and different firewood splitting techniques with mauls and with splitting axes and things like that. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know there was such a thing as a splitting axe until I watched a Wrangler Star video where he was talking about bucking Billy Ray Smith or something like that. He's a Canadian guy, definitely a logger, I guess they would call themselves up there. Knows his way around an axe, and most of his videos he's showing how to rehandle and restore axes and stuff, and he's quite entertaining. I've watched several of his videos, and other guys too that have showed, you know, there's one other guy, I can't remember his name. It's something like old iron or antique iron or vintage iron or something like that, and he does a lot of stuff. But anyway, I've been watching a whole ton of videos, so I'm pretty much an expert on axes now. YouTube, you know, diploma right over here. But kidding aside, about a year and a half ago, my wife and I were picking up a whole bunch of stuff. We bought this 100-acre property fairly close by. You know, it's maybe 20 minutes away from here. As a crow flies, it's probably only about 15, but you know, you have to go through the stuff. But anyway, it's a distance away from here, far enough that we think it's going to stay country for at least the rest of our lifetimes. So we bought 100 acres, but part of the way we were able to afford to buy this 100 acres is we told the people that were selling the 100 acres that they could just leave everything behind that they didn't want to pick up, and we would pick it up. They could just leave all the trash, because there was trash everywhere. And we've been slowly doing that over the past couple of years. Sometimes I think maybe I should have just paid more money and, you know, let them pick up their own trash. But to be honest with you, I found some really, really awesome treasures amongst that trash. And so I thought I'd bring you in here and show you something that I'm really excited about. For as long as I can remember, I've had this. I think it's a Trooper, although I'm not 100% sure. Knowing me, I probably bought this thing on sale because it was probably like on clearance or something for 20 bucks or whatever. But I've had it for, I'm going to say, since the late 90s. And one thing good about it is it's never broken. And I've missed a bunch. You know, there's strike marks. I've abused this thing. I've had to use it like a makeshift sledgehammer. I've beat on this thing, and I've used it like a wedge before. I've certainly used it beyond its designed intention. But look at the shape. Let me see if I can get a shot of this, at how thin that is. You see how thin that is? And it's almost hollow right here, or concave this way. So it stays thin, gets fat back here. Well, the problem with this, and I never knew this until I started learning about splitting axes. The problem with this style is when it gets buried into a log, I mean, you almost have to have a pry bar to get it out sometimes. When you've got this really tight grain, especially the greener it is and the wetter it is, this thing tends to get locked in, okay, and almost impossible to get out. And you spend a lot of energy going, trying to pull the damn thing out, when you shouldn't be doing that. You should be chopping wood and moving on to the next thing. Not to say that it's not capable of chopping wood. It is, but I would consider this, now that I know a little more of a, like a felling axe. This is one that you would use to cross cut. You know, I guess they would call it chopping versus splitting. You know, so this is more of a chopper. And again, you know, don't be too hard on me on the comments. I'm not trying to pretend that I'm some axe guru, because I'm not. I've just learned and started learning all this stuff, but it's fascinating to me that all the way back in the day, when I show you this treasure here in a minute, you'll see what I'm talking about. But way back in the day, they already understood the geometry that it was going to take to be a good wood splitter. So yeah, you can see the pattern on this. And you know, again, I'm going to keep this around, but now that I know, I'll probably put more of a sharper chopping edge type on it so that I'll be able to chop trees down better if I need to. Most of the time I use a chainsaw, but there may be times I don't want to. But let's go ahead and get down to it. I've strung you along far enough here. I want to show you what I found, this treasure. I am just in love with this thing. So much so I'm going to put my glasses on so I can show you guys properly. So the moment you've all been waiting for, or I've all been waiting for, here it is. This is a Depression era, the best I can tell, Plumb, Michigan axe. Okay, so about a week ago or so, maybe a little more. I'm a busy guy. I don't remember how long that was. I mean, it was a little while back, but I put a video out that was very close up of this, and I tried to show all the different angles, and I asked my audience, what is this thing? Because all I could find online was this single marking right here, Plumb. That's it. That's all this axe has on it, as far as I can tell. Maybe when I clean the surface rust off, I might see other numbers or letters or something like that, but I am in love with this thing. And oh, there's not a lot of real easy ways to date these Plumb axes, but one way that you can tell for sure, the older ones, the really old ones, were hung on wood, not this, I can't remember what it's called, but it's sort of like this stuff here, like epoxy of some kind, right? And so, poly something, I can't recall what it is, but help me out in the comments if you guys know what that stuff's called that they used on the, I think it was from about, it was pretty far back. It was like from the 1950s all the way up until Plumb went out of business. But the only name I can find on this thing is right there. And we're gonna clean this up and restore it. But look, even the head, I don't remember what they call this, the back part, the pole, I think, it's in good shape, other than just a little bit of rollover. But I could take that out with a file real easy. So as far as the blade, you can see down here on the bottom, it's either been chipped or someone maybe filed it that way. I don't know. I don't really understand. They may have been trying to chase some, some spots out that they were, that they chipped or something like that, maybe hitting rocks or something. But otherwise, it looks to be in pretty good, savable condition. Oh, one other thing that helped me to identify this thing is that it has this, what they call a phantom bevel. And you'll see it better when I clean it up, but you can see this almost a spade shape in here. It goes like that. It's not really a spade, but you get this shape on there. And the other thing that confirms to me that this may be a anywhere from probably 1925 to 1935 or even 45. Well, no, probably not 45, but it would have been, maybe up into the early 40s before the war. It has this pattern, but also I saw a guy selling one on Etsy, and he was wanting like $300 or $400 for it or something. Maybe it wasn't that much, but it was quite expensive, I thought. But his had a little single dimple right here. And I'm like, does mine have that? And it does. You just almost can't see it because it's got rust inside of it right now. So I'm really excited about this. Let me show you the little bit of handle that I pulled out of here. Now, I don't know for sure. This could have been rehandled at some point. I mean, if it is from the 30s, chances are at some point or another, someone broke the handle and put a new handle in it. If they did, and this was one of the epoxy type handles, if that was the case, they did the best job I've ever seen, because there's no drill marks at all inside of there. That's one of the things that I've seen a lot of guys talking about, is the only way to get that stuff out of there cleanly is to use a drill over and over and over and just peck all the way around. And inevitably, you end up getting into the metal a little bit. It's almost unavoidable. So I don't see any signs that that was the case. I believe this to be a 1930s model Plumb Michigan axe. And I don't know what the weight is. I don't have a way to really weigh this super accurately. I'm going to say it's probably, it feels like 3.5, maybe 4 pounds. But let's just call it 3.5 for now. maybe later I'll see if I can find a scale that would work on that. But yeah, certainly an old piece of wood. And what I like about having this little piece here, for one, I can see they had repinned it over the years to try to keep it tight. You know, we've all been there. We've all done stuff like that where you need an axe right then, and you know, you're out away from the shop or whatever, and you just get a nail or whatever you could get to get the job done. And it looks like that's what they did here. But what really surprised me was the top of this was all rotted, but the bottom of it, when I cut it clean, it was still good wood inside of there. So that's really cool. And again, I don't know if this part here is from the 1930s. I doubt it. I have to clear my throat here. Anyway, we're going to start out on the wire wheel with this to try to keep the metal loss to a minimal. You know, I don't want to sandblast it. I thought about doing that. I have a sandblaster, but I want to keep the material, as much of it as possible, on here, the good usable stuff, before we get into it. So yeah, we'll start out at the wire wheel. We'll clean this up and see what it looks like. If we need to go further than that, we can get the belt sander. We probably will have to have belt sander for this, or a file, to reshape that. But what's interesting about it is it's almost the right shape on the two ends. So it looks like to me, if I could just take this hump down right here and even the rest of this out, I should be good. And I'm trying to decide. I think I might want to put a banana grind on here, but I just learned about banana grind, so I'm not sure that a chisel grind might be better for this. It might last longer. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think if you know about that sort of thing down in the comments. But yeah, when we come back, we're going to pop this puppy on the wire wheel and see what we see. All right, let's find out what's underneath all that rust. I think it's going to turn out quite nice. Oh man, even just working down to it, I can feel that area. See, the convexity is right here and it's concave right here. So that should make it a better splitting axe. It's probably not a Billy Ray special bullet or whatever he calls his special axe, but it also didn't cost me any. Well, it did cost me, you know, the price of the land, I guess. It's looking better. You can certainly see that phantom bevel now more. Oh man, I've been putting this off for days so I can make a video about it for you guys. Hopefully you'll be as excited about it as I am. I think these old tools are really cool, man, and we should try to do what we can to preserve them. Kind of like old Chevys, you know. I don't really care much for new Chevys, but old ones, I want to try to save every one I can. I just love them. Oh man, oh yeah, we got a little finger on that one. It reminds me, when I first got out of high school, I started working at this company, and I'd never really run one of these very much, and sure enough, man, I'd come home almost not have any fingerprints left, because you just can't help but get into it. And it's, when you're new, it's really scary when you get into it, you know, but you'll quickly realize it's not that big a deal. And if you need to remove your fingerprints for some reason. Every shop needs something like this, man. I mean, very useful tool. If you're doing any kind of restoration work, any kind of cleaning up parts, cleaning up bolts, cleaning up metal of any kind, this is about as good as it gets. All right, let's see what this side looks. Pretty good. There's some spots here with some deeper pitting, but that might actually make it look really old and antique, hopefully, when we're all done. Look its age. because she's an old gal, if she is from the 30s. We really want to clean up that phantom bevel, make it look nice. Yeah, I just want to thank you guys that came into my short video and told me all about this, man. I knew some guys that knew about this would come in and fill me in. So cool. That's one cool thing about YouTube is you can always count on guys to be interested in certain things. And the guys that are interested in those things, they know a lot about it, either from firsthand experience or from doing research like I do and learning from other guys. That's what it's all about. And a lot of guys, you know, I've worked with them. There's some guys that don't want to teach you whatever they're doing, you know, because they're worried, they're nervous that you're going to take their job or something, which I don't blame them, especially the way things have been going. That said, there are some other guys that you'll run across they're willing to teach you everything. And if you meet one of those guys, be appreciative of that, you know, because it's really cool. Just thought of something a second ago when I was checking my video footage to make sure I got you guys a good shot. I realized I didn't show you what I was really talking about here. Let's see if we can get it to focus. Hopefully you can see that. It's thin on the edges, but it fattens up in the center. And that keeps it from getting stuck in the wood as easily. I'm not saying it's impossible, you know. Maybe it still could every once in a while, but man, that's just a thing of beauty. Look at that. I like it. And maybe I'll find out that, yeah, this is better than that other one that I've been using, but there might be even better patterns out there. Like, I'm really intrigued by the Tasmanian pattern. I think that's pretty cool. It's a bigger head. I think it's more like 5 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. You can probably get them in different weights, but most common ones are about 5 pounds, I'm thinking. And that might be a little better just for this hardwood that I have around here. So yeah, to go ahead and finish what I was saying about that, about how I've been looking into different things like wood splitters and things like that. When I was a kid, I'd get to go out and visit my grandpa, and they lived a pretty country lifestyle. And all they had was a wood maul. So I would run that maul because they burned with wood. I would run that maul, you know, use it in the summertime. And I was at that age, like probably about 12 to 15 or something, when I would go out there and visit them, where I was trying to build muscle and stuff. So, I mean, I was all into it. I would get out there and just split wood and just really get a good sweat going. But all they had was that heavy maul. It was like a 8-pound maul. And, you know, when you're 12, 14-year-old kid, that wears you out real quick. So anyway, I do have some experience doing that stuff, but I grew up in the city, so we didn't have a wood stove. We didn't have any of that stuff. So I don't really have a whole lot of axemanship in my life, but I'm starting to think that with the right splitting head and the right length handle and all that stuff and the right setup, that it might be quite fun and a good workout. And honestly, based on what I've been seeing, probably faster than running a log splitter. And especially considering, although we have really hard wood here, most of the stuff that I'm cutting down and going to be using for firewood is under 6 inches. So that stuff ought to split really nice. And I'd love to get set up like that over at the homestead where I can have like a, a little place, nice little chopping block where I could sit there and, get a good sweat going and get a good workout. That is looking pretty darn good. All right, now we're going to try to clean that eye hole out. I've got a couple of wire brushes that are on a drill bit here, so let's get it. Well, y'all can't really see that, but it is cleaning up. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can see some shine in there where before we had none. I'm not going to say it's 100% of the rust, the surface rust gone, but it should be good enough. I don't know. Maybe I'll throw it in the sandblaster and just do the eye right quick, and then that way I'd feel better about that, just because I don't know what would happen if it started rusting inside of the handle. I would think that it would just make it get tighter, but I don't know. I'm sure they didn't hang them with the intention of them rusting, so maybe I will do that, but I won't be able to video that because I can't really video inside my sandblaster. All right, something you guys got to know about me. I'm a little bit of a sandblast freak. Once I put something in the sandblaster, it's hard for me to stop sandblasting. So I did go ahead and hit the whole outside of the thing, just very lightly. Mainly what I was trying to do was get the pitting, the rust out of the pitting. That's what I wanted to do. Hopefully you can see inside of there. Not really. You just have to trust me. It's a lot cleaner. There's no rust in there. It's going to be a lot better. I think it's going to hang really nicely. And yeah, that'll be the top. There is something right there. I don't think that's a crack necessarily because it doesn't go all the way through, but I see a spot right there where they hit something really hard, and hopefully it'll be okay. I'm sure it will. I could weld it. I have a welder. I know how to do it, but I'm just not sure I want to go that far. Because I'm worried I might mess up the heat treating or something if I did that. So, but yeah, that phantom bevel came out nicely. I've got the little dimple right there. Everything about this, I've looked for other markings and numbers and I don't see anything else. Apparently sometimes they used to mark the pole, but I don't see anything there. I think this is a 1930s Plumb axe, Michigan pattern with the phantom bevel. So it's special to me anyway. All right, I got us a little bowl of water over here. We'll be dipping in, and I think we're ready to go. We're just gonna take it easy because I don't want to overdo it and screw something up. So first I'm gonna try to shape it, and then we'll try to get the bevel. All right, now we got our sander here, orbital sander, I think it's called, with a 220 grit on here. We're gonna see if we can't make this thing look a little better. Oh yeah, now we're getting sweet. Look at that, before, right, after, very cool. I think this is going, once I get this properly sharpened, but by the way, that wasn't my sharpen. I was just trying to get some sort of a round shaped chisel grind going on here so that I'd have something to run my file to. So let's do the other side right quick. And we'll be ready to put an edge on this thing. And I think we'll make it a two-part video. Next video, we'll hang the handle or something like, we'll hang the axe. I do have a handle over here. Nothing fancy, but I'm excited about it. It's almost too shiny now. I just want to show you guys how I do it with just a file. Let's see what we got here. A Mill Bastard Nicholson. It's an old one. If you can find these things, these good old Nicholsons, that's the way to go. So maybe you're like me and you're not super confident in sharpening. One thing you can do is just take a little Sharpie like this and run along here. That way you can see where you're making your filings. And I want to definitely sharpen up these two corners. So let's get in it. I think one more time on the other side and we're going to be there. Definitely got a good thin wire there. I feel it. Little ridge. Oh yeah. May not be the prettiest grind you've ever seen or the prettiest axe work you've ever seen, but it's mine and I found it. And so far I'm only invested about $20. I had to go buy a handle over at, I bought it at Ace Hardware. And actually I found one with a pretty straight grain. Okay. Let's see if it's sharp enough to cut paper. I can see there's some places like right in here I might want to work on it just a little bit more. But then again, it doesn't have to be knife sharp. We're chopping wood. We're not cutting stuff like paper. So, guys, that's going to be it for this video. For those of you that stayed to the bitter end here, I appreciate it. I know that this is not everybody's, cup of tea or whatever you'd say, but for those of you that know, Plumb. What I suspect is from the 1930s, the best I can tell. Good old piece of American steel, and I think it's freaking beautiful. And I'll just give you a quick sneak peek at this ultra varnished handle that I bought. it already starts it in there anyway. It doesn't fit. I'm going to have to shape it, obviously, but that's what she's going to look like, something like that. So guys, I appreciate you tuning in. If you know anything about these old vintage Plumb axes or any other vintage axe, come down there if you've ever restored one. If you've got recommendations, things that you see me doing wrong that I could do better, let me know. We're all here to learn. I'm not pretending to be some sort of an expert. I just think these are really cool, and I'm going to make this thing the best that I can make it with the tools and materials and know-how that I have around. But yeah, I'm ready to put this head on. Maybe tomorrow we'll do that and come back and talk about that. It's a fairly straight head. It does have a palm swell down there, but I'm going to be shaping this thing because it's way too thick. So I'm going to be getting out the draw knife and the spoke shave, and we'll be shaving that up and making her look nice. I guess I could show you over here. That would probably be a little easier to show you the shape of that handle. Yeah, it's just super cool, guys. I just freaking love this thing. Pan out a bit more. There we go. Yeah, I just love this thing. But can I shave with it? I don't. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I think that looks a lot better than a rusty old axe head. I appreciate tuning in. Cheers. We'll see you next time.